Well, it's 11 a.m. on Francis Marion Day, so this must be the Marion Medallion ceremony. The event that occurs every year, going back to 2012, sponsored by the Florence Morning News and Francis Marion University, where we identify distinguished citizens from across the PD who have served on behalf of their fellow citizens. Let me take a second and just talk a little bit about the criteria for which these awards are made every year. The recognitions are based on criteria that are deliberately very, very broad-based. Eligible recipients must have contributed in a significant manner to the well-being of citizens across the PD. Potential recipients are not restricted by geography, they're not restricted by topical boundaries, and recognition may be for a sustained service over time, single actions, or some type of combination. Every year, no fewer than 1 and no more than 4 recipients will be selected and recognized. The recipients' activities may address single events or multiple areas of need. Recipients of the medallion are identified and selected by senior executives from Francis Marion University and the Morning News. Think of it this way. This is the one award in the PD for extraordinary, outstanding service that you can't be nominated for, you can't be voted into it, it's not a popularity selection. You get here by the acts that you do of generosity and charity and service for your fellow citizens. And as you're going to see from some of the stuff we talk about today, some of those acts no one knows about but the giver and the recipient. Past recipients of this award include, and let me just take a second and read the list. If you're here as a past recipient, would you stand up when I read your name and stay up, and then we'll applaud everybody at the end. 2012, Kathy Baxley, Henry Johnson and Hayward King. 2013, Bill and Olive Timberlake and Ralph Porter. 2014, Henry Beatty and Clyde Odom and Henry Brunson. 2015, John and Vicki Kirby and Paige Alexander, Dina Strickland. 2016, Carlos Washington and Manna House. 2017, Reggie Alexander, Carl Harmon, and Courtney Graham posthumously. Let's give these folks a hand. And now let's move on with the presentations of the medallion. Morning News Editor Don Counselor. Don, will you come up and present the first medallion?
Thank you, Fred. Hunger, as you no doubt know, is a big problem in the world, and sadly, as developed as we are in the United States, we have that problem in our great nation. That problem, of course, extends to Florence County, where there are more than 8,000 hungry children. Fortunately, an organization came along a few years ago to help reduce this problem. This organization, from top to bottom, is made up of dedicated volunteers who are determined to make a difference. That army is Help for Kids Florence, and the entire nonprofit group is honored today with the Marion Medallion. Help for Kids Florence was founded in 2013. Operating out of St. John's Church across the street here in downtown Florence, it originally served 192 children but it quickly grew. Now, every weekend during the school year, Help for Kids Florence feeds approximately 2,000 students between the ages of 3 and 12. The organization serves elementary school students in every district in Florence County. Every week, volunteers from churches, businesses, and schools fill brown paper bags with child-friendly, self-serving food such as ramen noodles, Vienna sausages, and fruit cups. We saw this amazing assembly line in action a few weeks ago when we showed up at the organization's warehouse in West Florence and surprised the volunteers with the news that they would be receiving a Marion Medallion. The helpers on that Thursday included students from the Montessori School of Florence. Diane Welsh, the president of Help for Kids Florence, told volunteers that the award reflects the whole team, not an individual. She said, "I hope this is going to really help us locally because I'm seeing more and more that this needs to be owned by the county. This is us, and I think that the award will let people know that we are taking care of our own." Help for Kids Florence leaders came to the morning news late in 2016 and asked us to help them tell their story and support a food drive. How could we say no? The result was Food Fight, a 6-day series of articles that we published a little more than a year ago. Some of these articles were produced by our staff. Some of these were testimonials that came from school officials, teachers, administrators, guidance counselors, nurses, who spelled out the problem of childhood hunger and praised the efforts of Help for Kids Florence. We were pleased to report last fall that Help for Kids Florence made South Carolina Secretary of State Mark Hammond's annual list of top charities in South Carolina. These top charities are recognized as angels. To be selected as an angel, the charity must have devoted 80% or more of its total expenditures to charitable programs, been in existence for 3 or more years, made good use of volunteer services, received minimal funding from grants, and been in compliance with the South Carolina Solicitation of Charitable Funds Act. Help for Kids Florence was one of 10 nonprofits that made the Angels list. Help for Kids Florence planned another big food drive early this year and came to the morning news for more support. Again, how could we say no? We ran another series of testimonials from school officials and promoted the food drive, which was a big success. Because Help for Kids Florence leaders and volunteers care and give so much, we are proud to recognize them as a 2018 recipient of a Marion Medallion. Diane Welsh, please come forward now and accept this medallion on behalf of the volunteers and say a few words.
I don't know if I can say very much after what Don has said, but it's my honor to accept this morning on behalf of all of you. We could not do this without you. We are very unique. My good friend Allie Walker often says, we're not like any other group. We are a team, and whether or not you are part of that team on Tuesday night packing or Thursday night packing or delivering to the schools or helping with food drives or sweeping the floor or ordering the food or writing the letters or writing the grants out in the community, you are Help for Kids. And if you give us $1 or an hour or $100 or 100 hours, you are part of Help for Kids. And one of the things that I think we are beginning to get out there is that hunger in Florence County is not starvation. When we first started this, people would ask me, have you seen hungry children? And in their minds, they're thinking of a third world country child who is malnourished, who doesn't have the environmental advantages that we have. But in Florence County, children are hungry. They may not always be hungry, and some of them are always hungry, but they act out in different ways. And I think that we are, through working with the schools and working with the nurses and through Don's support with the newspaper, I was very nervous when I went to him in 2016 with this idea. And he's a very serious-looking guy, and he didn't smile till I was about halfway through, and I thought, what is he thinking? I was trying to read him, and he just very graciously just lit up and said, of course. I think he was a little bit taken back with the numbers that I shared with him, because we just don't think of hunger as something that is right here among us. And as Dermot Hodge, who is instrumental and has been with us since the beginning, he always says it's all about the children. And I know that that's why we do this. I know that's why you do this. And I know that with this award and recognition of your hard work, that we will continue to feed 2,200 children a week, and that is enormous. In 5 years, we are feeding that many children, and we're in all the Head Starts, we're on all the school districts, and it's us, it's our community. And so I invite you and I challenge you, if you're a part of a civic organization, if you're part of a church, if you're part of anything that wants to come and help us with the food drive, or dollars, or time, welcome. We welcome you, because we are making a difference, and we will see this. There are children that with this food are being helped to the point that they can make it. And so I thank you, Don and Francis Marion, and we will take this to our warehouse. Oh, and there's one other person that I really need to thank, and that's Richard Walker, because not only are we an all-volunteer organization, Richard donates our warehouse space, and without that, we couldn't do what we do. Thank you, Richard, and Mr. Patterson. Thank you. Glad to have you with us. Could all our team stand up, please?
Thank you. Congratulations. It's my pleasure today to present the second medallion to Billy Powers, an uncommon man. Many of you know that Billy is the CEO of a thriving company. What many of you probably don't know is he didn't start out that way. He was born on a family farm in Timminsville, where his family owned a country store and a grits mill. There he learned discipline, and he learned how to pattern a life in a way that would be successful. Billy didn't have running water in his house until he was in the 3rd grade, and he had no electricity until he was in the 6th grade. Graduated from Timminsville High School in 1953 and he went to Clemson University. But he didn't graduate because he had to leave school last year to come back and help on his family farm when his dad became ill. But Clemson honored him with an honorary Doctor of Humanities degree in 2004. Frances Marion honored him with an honorary Doctor of Humanities degree in 2006. After school, Billy worked as a land surveyor for the South Carolina Department of Transportation, and ultimately he began the Powers Construction Company, large-scale commercial construction company known for building schools, government buildings, churches, and apartments across the Carolinas and ultimately across the Southeast. During his career, he's been in the land surveying business. He's been in residential and commercial construction. He's been in the swimming pool business. He's been in aviation. He's been in auto parts manufacturing, apartment rentals, property management, and land development. Billy's philosophy: we are all put on this earth to help each other as quietly and anonymously as possible. 2 years ago, Billy started the W.O. Powers Foundation to benefit the local community. Across the course of his life, he served on the following boards: the Florence County Economic Development Board, Florence County Progress, the Florence Optimist Club, the Florence Rotary Club, the Greater PD Home Builders, the Frances Marion University Foundation, the PD Council of Boy Scouts. He was named Business Person of the Year by the Chamber in '87. He was named the Distinguished Citizen by the PD Boy Scouts. He was given the Distinguished Service Award by the Clemson Alumni Association in 2011. He served on the board for Clemson University Foundation, has been a lifelong member of EPTA. He served on the board of Frances Marion University. In addition to Powers Construction, he has pursued many other entrepreneurial endeavors involving Powers Property, Price Carolina Aquatech Pools, and Powers Aviation. He loves flying. His true passion has been aviation across his life, and he's held a pilot's license for more than 50 years. Billy views the world as life is not about making money, but it's a byproduct of doing the things that God will have you do. If you do it right, He'll bless you beyond belief. Over 19 years, Billy has contributed a lot of money to my university. I can't tell you how much he's given me because he wouldn't want me to. He's supported with scholarships, facilities, scholarships, technology, scholarships and scholarships and scholarships. My board started a new initiative about 3 years ago, and they asked me to go to Billy Powers and ask for some support to fund that new initiative. And I told them I wasn't going to do it because everything I've gone to Billy for 19 years, he supported us with. And I'm not going to go to Billy anymore and ask for stuff. I don't feel right doing that. That's a strange statement for a university president to make. But it underscores the generosity, the charity that resides in the heart of that man. A few years ago, I was visiting Billy with an elected official. The elected official had asked me to go and meet with Billy. The elected official wanted some support for a project he was doing in town. Billy listened very politely to the request and said, "Let me think about it. I'll get back to you." Fred, would you stay a few minutes afterwards? The elected official left. The first question Billy asked me was, how's the scholarship fund doing? Do you need a couple of extra scholarships? That's Billy. The one thing you've got to know about Billy Powers is this. He's all over this community doing hundreds of different things. A kid needs to go to St. Jude's tomorrow. A plane mysteriously appears to take that kid to St. Jude's tomorrow. A kid's about to drop out of school because he can't afford the tuition any longer. A check mysteriously arrives to help that kid get the tuition. You'll never know about those acts. No one will ever know about those acts but Billy Powers, the recipient, and God. And Billy wouldn't have it any other way. My friends, it is my distinct pleasure and high honor to present the Marion Medallion to Penny Burns, who is accepting this morning on behalf of Billy, who's ill at home. Penny, would you come forward and accept this?
I'm really sorry my dad could not be here this morning, but I accept this award on my father's behalf and thank Francis Marion University and the Florence Morning News for honoring him with the Marion Medallion. And I couldn't do any better than the introduction he gave me to tell about my dad. One thing I do want you to know about my father is he would always want the honor to go to his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and that God has blessed him tremendously beyond measure. And just from a recent conversation I had with my dad, I know it is his desire to continue to contribute to the success of others, as it gives him so much joy and pleasure to do so. And I know he so much wants to honor the Lord in that way. So I just thank you again for presenting him with the Marion Medallion. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. You know, every year when we do this, the morning news and the university jokes, we argue that the test of whether or not we've made good decisions is when people open the paper tomorrow morning and read the award recipients, that they slap their head and say, of course, that's exactly who it should have gone to. This year, we've done our job well. If you all will hang around, come up and congratulate the recipients. And I think the Morning News also wants to take a few photographs. Thank you all for coming today. Have a good day.